Oh, welcome, boys and girls, to a very special Saturday spinny edition of the Three Man Week Best Bets show. I am not in full costume. I am recording from a satellite location, Key West. Ever
Wow.
heard of it? It's the southernmost point in the contiguous United States. So you literally cannot be more south than I am right now in our great country. Big show today for us, selfishly. Kyle, there's an announcement. I'm going to defer to you
No.
to unveil. Kyle doesn't want to do it right now.
I'm gonna
Why
give
does he
it
want
to
to do
Jim.
it?
Jim wants to do it. Jim wants to do the
Okay. Jim wants
unveiling
to
of
do it.
our great
Jim,
sponsor.
Jim, drum roll,
Drum roll, yes.
silent drum
We
roll.
have a sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, it is Circa Resort and Casino, Las Vegas. Kai going no spinny hat to unveil that it is Circa
Okay, next
indeed.
spinny.
We do not have the Circa logo on the screen yet. That will be coming in future shows, but of course we will be going live 4 or 5 days a week coming up, and we have an incredible giveaway here via Circa. They are giving away 3 nights free at Circa Resort in Las Vegas over the Sweet 16 weekend from March 28th to March 31st. The Sweet 16 Elite Eight. You get 3 free nights, limo transportation to and from the airport, 2 free drinks at Legacy Club, and a no minimum day bed at Stadium Swim on that
Ooh,
Saturday,
And we'll
how
be
do you
there.
do?
We'll
March
be there.
30th.
How do you
Yeah,
do?
we will be doing our live shows from Circa that weekend, Sweet 16 Elite Eight. So you can enter the contest for the free trip. You can also just come on out to Vegas and hang with us. We will be watching games at Circa. We will be at Stadium Swim. Very excited for that. Kai, we love Sweet 16 weekend because that's typically some of the best games.
Mhm.
You kind of cut out the first round upsets. You get fantastic games out there. There's no better place to watch games than Circa, Stadium Swim, or the sports book. Just an incredible place. We will have a link to enter that contest coming up. It'll be in the description of the video after the video airs. We'll also tweet that out. So while you're hitting the like button, it'll also be just a quick form. It'll be your name, first name, last name, and an email address. That's all it will take. And then we will pull an entry out of there. And one of you will be going to Circa in Las Vegas for Sweet 16 Elite Eight. God, we are excited. What an unveiling. What an
Thanks,
announcement,
Derek.
Matthias.
Thank you,
It's
Derek.
here.
Thank you,
Yes.
Derek. As the chat very astutely pointing out, the rainmaker to this whole operation, and now our fine sponsor. Guys, do we have learnings from last night or Thursday? Not a ton of great hoop on the last 2 nights. We don't. It's a big slate today.
Yeah,
Let's just go right into it, Kai. Let's look
Make your
ahead.
free throws, Yale. That's my only one.
Yeah, tough conference
God,
features week.
12
but
of
we don't have to talk about it.
26.
Yeah, tough.
Unbelievable. Hey,
Tough.
happy for Cornell though, and the Earl brothers who continue to set the landscape on fire. But we begin today's program, Mr. McKeon, with an SEC showdown. To the rundown we go. Kentucky hosting Alabama. One of these big major conference spots that the market just pounced all over. Opened, I think, -1 pick up to -2.5, 3 right now. Big Blue Nation basically market implying these two are near equals. Kentucky on their home floor looking to get back on track after really just almost predictable but disappointing letdown loss at LSU. Is this the bounce back spot that they so badly need to stay on the right side of the tournament picture, Mr. McKeon?
I'm looking more so total here, Matt. Points. It might
175.
Yeah, it might
is
be
your
an
number.
obvious statement here, but hey, Ken Palm's projecting at 178. Does the limit exist, Mean Girls? I'm not so sure it does. It's going to be mid 70s possession wise. It could be high 70s. UK's defense, we know it's not great. Bama can't really be stopped by anyone. Historically, their offense is great. Right now, it's top 5 since Ken Palm's site started way back in 1999, or at least when he started to track adjusted offensively. For UK's part, they're pretty good on offense too, right? Bama, their defense has improved in SEC play. It's still not great, and there's definitely been some fortunate three-point shooting splits that have kind of gone in Alabama's favor, propping up their defense just a little bit in conference play. But the concern for the side, Jim, is the health of Kentucky. Trey Mitchell obviously missed the LSU game. Is there a hangover from that game, the way they lost in horrible fashion? Interestingly enough, both teams very good transition defenses per synergy. Alabama, in fact, grades out as excellent, which surprised me. But I kind of lean towards Alabama in this one, Jim, at 3. I lean towards the over as well, even though it is 175.
Yeah, I like over as well. I got a bad number in the circuit contest. I think maybe coming down because of Latrell Wrightsell out for Alabama. He missed the Florida game, big time shooter. I mean, you take a 45% volume shooter off the wing and suddenly the offense looks a little less sharp. But Matt, that Florida game went it got really close to going over in regulation and then went over in overtime. and neither team made threes in that game. The shooting was not that sharp for Alabama or Florida, and it still got close to a very high number. I do not trust the Kentucky defensive renaissance. People are going nuts about it. Like I don't buy it. They had 3 straight games against Gonzaga, Ole Miss, and Auburn where no one made threes. Yes, that helps. That makes their numbers look good. They're getting crushed on the offensive glass. Well, that's not super Alabama strategy. I still think they'll get second opportunities here. I don't trust either defense, Matt. That's what it comes down to. I'm with Kai more on the over. Don't love a side, but conceptually with this Kentucky team, awful loss, focused at home at Rupp, that's when I want to back them. But they also lost, 3 games in a row at Rupp? They really struggled for a little while. So not like a super home run team in spots, but I think there's a lot of points, track meet up and down. This could approach 80 possessions. I'm surprised Ken Pom only has a 75. I think there's massive, what's the effect? I can't
slingshot, rubber band effect from last game.
Piling on effect.
Kind of, yeah. Piling on is more what,
snowball.
like
snowball effect.
Yeah. Yes.
Boom.
I mean, both offenses are like top 20 in possession. Like they want to go. So that's what I'm looking for in this game.
And there are definitely defenses too, where if one team has a lead, I feel like that team is going to give up some Matador defensive buckets, right? Like both teams get the ball out of the bucket and they go, right? So it's you'll get transition off misses, you'll get transition off turnovers, and you'll get transition off makes. I think it's a great pace play. Yeah, efficiency. I mean, we'll see. Obviously, it's a big number, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of Alabama's last 8 games have had 99 points scored for or against. So, I mean, you're going to get close to a hundo burger on either side. And no side take for me. I kind of lean Kentucky, honestly, but still not all the way trusting them without Trey Mitchell, whose status remains to be seen. We continue. Baylor hosting Houston. It's a Big 12 country. Jimbo talked about the Baylor new home court, the weird camera angle we don't like, but presumably a really strong home court there, as we've basically seen with every power conference so far this year, and Baylor's no exception. Houston has been awesome, but they've looked at least somewhat competable, I'll say, when they've been away from the friendly confines of their home gym. I thought the price was about right here. It's currently sitting at 2.5, so a short home dog spot for the Bears. Does that zone thwart the Houston shot making and offense, Jim, or is the best point guard in the country, as Kellen Sampson says, he going to bust that zone today?
Yeah, it's kind of a get right spot for Baylor. They went West Virginia to BYU, and now you get to settle in back home at that new arena, like you mentioned. I don't think the camera angle affects Baylor as much as it hurts the aesthetic of watching it. The splits here definitely jump out to you for Baylor. 8-4 against the spread at home. Houston is 1-6 against the spread on the road. It's just not a team that I want to lay points with on the road. Sampson talks about you see how mad he was they were favored at Kansas. I don't think he thinks they should be favored in any road games. And in the Big 12, it kind of makes sense. So Kai, I sort of gut think Houston wins, but I don't want to lay a possession with them. I don't think that's the right mathematical play. The right bet is probably Baylor. I did bet the under in the circuit contest. I think Baylor's playing slower in league play. Matt mentioned the zone. Houston's offense not as sharp on the road. I think this is kind of a rock fight, despite Baylor being an offensive tilted team. Yeah,
it would definitely be a statement win for Houston and all but lock up the Big 12 title. Also prove they can beat elite competition on the road. But you mentioned the splits, home road splits. They're real. Hey, that Baylor new arena looks very nice. We've talked about it. The camera angle's not nice, but the actual arena itself, it looks great. It's also worth noting again, reminder on Baylor's Big 12 losses. By 4 in overtime, by 3 in overtime, by 3 in overtime, by 3, and then finally by 7 against BYU at BYU. They're really good. This team is like very few possessions away from being in first place solely in the Big 12. In theory, they have the size to compete with Houston on the glass. That's obviously target number 1 is keep them off the glass. That's Houston's bread and butter. I do think they have enough talent, Baylor, to score offensively against Houston. And Matt, in the past, Sampson has called Houston the most, quote, foulingest team in the country. They are dead last once again in the Big 12 in free throw rate allowed this season. I think Baylor can get to the line. So I do lean towards Baylor here. It is a great spot. They have the talent, like I said. Houston's really, really good, though, guys, still.
I do think there's some real legitimacy to Houston's home road splits. Not that they've been awful on the road by any means, but the whistle that they don't get at their home gym and the whistle that their opponents get at their home gyms, I think is pretty key, right? How physical they defend, to your point, Kai, can certainly manufacture and keep this game close. And Houston's just not a team that really extends well away from their home building. Like all their games that you mentioned have been really close away from their own barn. So, all right, we're going to ACC country. I have some takes on this game. Duke at Wake. Another one where you're looking at the spread going, huh? Ranked team giving points on the road. And this system, Jim, is now, what, 90% this year? We don't have the updated numbers in front of us, but it doesn't matter.
No, it's not.
It doesn't matter. The books aren't trying to seduce you.
I'll look it up. I'll look it up, Matt, but I think it is like 50%.
Okay, I think it's come down to earth. Yeah, well, here's why. Because they've shaded it a point on the opener, 2 points on the opener, and then the market's bet into it another 2.5 points. So it's up to 2.5, 3 at some places. Wake is laying close to a field goal, Kai. It's Duke's third straight road game, and as my respected Duke insider Mitchell Harrison points out, it's been like decades since Duke's won 3 straight road games in a row. Obviously, the quick revenge angle from the matchup a couple of weeks back where Wake kind of sleazed a cover there. Or I guess Duke sleeves that cover, I should say. But major size concerns up front for Duke in this one. And Wake's been a juggernaut at home. I know it's not a long trip for Duke technically, but Wake at home has been a different team than they have been outside of their home building.
Yeah, in covering at home in ACC at like a giant rate. I mean, they've been winning by like 30 or 25, et cetera. But I think Duke's really good, man. They've now leapfrogged UNC in KenPom. They've just been fantastic since Jared McCain started rolling. The loss to Georgia Tech was with Tyrese Proctor getting hurt in the first minute. The loss to Pitt at home was without Mark Mitchell and Jeremy Roach. I think there's some context stuff that people are, missing with Duke, Matt, and I think they're really darn good. But this is like the home spot of all home spots for Wake, Kai. I know they had the big win in the Brandon Childress game a couple of years ago when they were bad and Duke was really good, and now Wake Forest actually good. I'm not willing to wager against either the Duke ascendance or the Wake Forest spot, so this is a full stay away from me.
Yeah, not to be hyperbolic, but this is Wake's season. They need this quality win. Like blood, a win here is, I think, their second Q1 win, obviously huge for the tournament. But the fact is, Wake has one win this season over a KenPom top 50 team. It was Florida back in November. They've only played 3 others. They lost to Utah by 7. They lost to UNC by 19. They lost to this Duke team by 8. They're clearly talented, but they haven't really proven they can rise to elite competition. And Duke really isn't being talked about right now. They look pretty darn good right now. A title contender for sure in my eyes. Game 1, Wake did keep it close. They never led, but they kept it close. The problem is Mitchell and Flip destroyed them. That is the issue. Wake really lacks those type of big wing / athletic forward types to guard Mitchell and Flip. They have the guards. They have the top end front court size and rotation and depth. They do not have the in-between, the big wings and athletic types. I think that's really where Duke gets them. I lean Duke here, Matt, sadly.
I think I do too. I'm sort of with you guys on the Duke eye test, and I was a sucker for this last season too. I bought a ton of Duke futures at about this point. They started to turn it on. They made that huge run, and they could have probably gone farther in the tournament had they not run into the Tennessee physical buzzsaw.
And Mitchell got hurt.
They're Mitchell got hurt. Literally, the guy who would have probably been huge in that matchup. So Mitchell playing better. Roach has kind of accepted his like Robin type of off the ball, knockdown, catch and shoot guy, and then with Jeremy McCain just being an all-star at the point of attack, like Proctor just needs to be a ball hawk defender. It doesn't need to be the All-American score we thought. So I kind of like this new version of Duke. Again, the ACC, what do we learn about these teams? What can we learn about Duke? Their last 6 games, Boston College, great. Notre Dame, great. So it remains to be seen how I feel about it. I do kind of lean Duke going against the market here, but again, not enough to go against that Wake home mojo. All right, we stay in the ACC, I should say. To Virginia, Kai, the Hoos are 1-1 in their last 2 games, yet they have failed to score 50 points in either of those games. A disgusting 49-47 win over Wake last weekend, and then got blown out, promptly humbled after that disgusting free throw performance. Is there any hope for this Virginia offense, and is there any value today with the Tar Heels coming to town?
It's a big day for them. A win here and a Duke loss pulls them into a half game back of first in the ACC. Despite all the horribleness their offense has done, they would be right there in the running. Yeah, they just got annihilated by VT, and that's really hearkening to their road home splits, right? 4-5 on the road against the spread, almost a -10 cover margin. A lot of that, the heavy lifting done by Virginia Tech, but they're 9-5 at home against the spread. 3-point cover margin. It's the first time this year they've been a dog at JPJ all season. Yes, truth. Although it does seem short, I will admit. UNC has shown cracks. They're 3-3 in the last 6, but those 3 wins are pretty impressive. And the firepower battle, it isn't close, obviously. Can Virginia keep hitting outside shots at the, we'll say, unsustainable rate they have in ACC play? Maybe. Or will UNC's defense cause an unsustainable rate of threes being missed on the other end, kind of what's been happening in the ACC as well? I kind of lean towards UNC here, Jim, from a pure talent perspective, obviously, but the spot in my gut scream Hoos, and maybe that's more so of my bet for the ACC title race.
I'm shocked that you did not mention coach matchup there either.
Yeah, coach
matchup.
Huber's 3-2 though against Virginia, so I didn't want to put that out there.
Success. Yeah, I know it's weird. I don't quite
yeah, well, Matt, I think on our midweek episode you said like, oh, UNC owns Virginia with athleticism. Virginia's actually 7-3 against the spread in the last 10. But only 2-3 in the last 5 because as Hubert has stepped in and we've had some pretty bad Virginia teams in that time span, that's been a little bit part of it. Kai, you mentioned the splits for Virginia. UNC is 5-3 against the spread on the road, but they are 0-3 in their last 3. And remember, people all fell in love with them because they had that like 3-game stretch where they won outright and no one made a 3 against them. And it's like their defense is invincible, which, by the way, is exactly what Kentucky is doing right now. Although they did lose to LSU, but the 3-point shooting influences your defensive numbers quite a bit, especially in a small sample. UNC on the road has not been as sharp. I lean towards Virginia at home in a slow down half court game here. Take RJ Davis away from that, secondary transition break type stuff. I think they've got just the perfect matchup for the Harrison Ingram mid post type stuff. Ryan Dunn is going to blanket him. He's arguably one of the best defenders in the entire country. I lean Virginia here, Matthias, and I know Kai loves that for his big old conference parlay.
Yeah, market seems to agree with you on the Virginia slowing down the game to their liking. It bet down to 130.5. It opened 132.5. But market liking UNC, I think, on some of the reasons we just talked about, maybe also fading the disastrous offensive form that we've seen from the Hoos as of late. It is that time for Chat Mob Part 1. But before we begin, it's time to like and subscribe. We also have an ad coming. So before we get to that ad read from Mr. McKeon, if you're watching the show live, hit the like button. Hit the subscribe. It's a mandatory thing we can't really enforce, but we implore you to do so. Do so now while Kai reads this phenomenal ad read from our new sponsor, Mr. McKeon.
Yes, we do. In addition to Circus Sports, who will sponsor the show, today we have a sponsor from Manscaped. 2024, is here in full swing. That means it's time for a New Year's resolution check with our friends at Manscaped. Newsflash, it's never too late to level up your grooming game and keep your bush tamed, gentlemen. Manscaped's new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. It's this bad boy right here. Is every man's cheat code to looking good, feeling good, and turning the page of confidence into the new year. Whether you're going for a trim or that clean-shaven look, this trimmer has you covered. Trusted by over 10 million men worldwide, now is your time to get a grip on your grooming with our exclusive offer. Go to manscaped.com, use our code 3MW for 20% off plus free shipping. The ball is dropped, but don't drop the ball on your balls. Fellas, how are your New Year's resolutions going so far? Jim, is your bush game strong?
It's incredible, Kai. It's gonna get better though once I get my hands on our Manscaped mower that they sent us. Excited about that. I'm thinking like the ball is tipped. We don't want the balls are nicked. We don't want that. That's
perfect. Honestly, Manscaped will probably steal that one. Yeah, it is the MVP of 2024, guys. The Manscaped 5th generation lawnmower. It's not just a trimmer, it's your grooming stick. It's equipped with 2 skin-safe blade heads, a standard one for taking a little off the top, and a new foil blade to go smooth wherever your heart desires. It's like having a personal stylist at your fingertips or wherever you need it. And it's waterproof. Because, of course, you can trim in the shower. It's the only way to start the day. Manscaped, once again, manscaped.com. Promo code 3MW, 20% off.
Full disclosure, I was already a proud consumer for over a year, so now I'll have dueling lawnmowers, Kai, which could be dangerous. Maybe I should just do one.
I hope you double wield.
Dual wield the razors for Manscaped.
Yeah. Good. All right, let's get into Chat Mob, fellas, and hit that like button if you haven't. First question from Pat. He loves TCU minus 4.5 at home against Cincinnati. Matthew, your Bearcats are drifting away from the bubble after losing at home to Oklahoma State. Do they bounce back on the road?
I think it's a good spot for him, but Pat Sharp and so are others. It's now 5.5. I can't lay 5.5 at TCU. I do think that's the right side. But TCU's rim protection has been slightly questionable, and that's where Cincinnati, I think, can get you. It does feel short, and no Uday, which really hurts there. So, yeah.
Kai, to the Big South. shockingly, early in the chat section here from Lante. He likes UNC Asheville -4.5 against Gardner-Webb. Asheville coming off a loss to Longwood, now 1 game back of High Point. Do they keep pace with the Panthers?
Yeah, one of those strange losses. Although Longwood's been strangely bad this season in conference play, I lean towards Asheville here. I've loved Gardner-Webb all season, but I've also loved Asheville. I still think they're the class of this conference. No offense to High Point. I lean ever so slightly to Asheville, nothing strong at all.
Matt, back to your ACC country. At least one coach who is sick of the disrespect out there. That is Jeff Capel. They are his Pitt Panthers are -2.5 against Virginia Tech. Any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I like Pitt. I know they've been one of the better road teams relative to the other ACC opponents, but just got blasted on the road by Wake at Wake. Just a better matchup here coming back home against a team that's not that good. I'm not really a big Hokie guy. Like, I love Mike Young, but this every time I watch Virginia Tech, I just don't get the warm and fuzzies. I like Pitt. I like this new version of Pitt after their midseason lull.
Yeah, and honestly, the home run Virginia Tech effort against arch rival now going on
that
the road.
Too. Yeah, you're right. It's actually a two-way spot for sure. That's a good point. Yep.
Yeah. Matthew, right back to you.
Good.
UNLV and Colorado State in the Mountain West. We've got your running Rebs, basically a pick 'em at home against Colorado State. I feel like they've actually had Colorado State's number.
Yeah, but I couldn't take them because I don't trust them, right? They're sort of the most Jekyll and Hyde team in college basketball, and Colorado State, I think, needs to crack up some more wins here. I think the Rebs is the right side, but it's just not a team you can bet confidently because they're as inconsistent as anyone in the country. So they are still my Rebs, but I am not backing them today.
Kai, to you, in the Big Sky, Portland State headed on the road to Montana. The Grizz with one Z only, laying 7.5. Any thoughts on this game?
It's funny. I have opinions in 2 other Big Sky games. This one, I really do not. It feels a tad high to me, but Portland State's been one of those teams that I think I've been higher on all year for, I guess, hoping against hope,
Stick
Matthew. Yeah. So
no, you're right, though.
We'll go slightly into Portland State. Nothing strong in that Big Sky game.
40 State small.
40 State small.
There you go.
Matthew. Okay.
Yeah.
Another one from Ethan W. Ole Miss laying 3.5 at home against South Carolina. This is where I will mention that, yes, the unranked team laying points to a ranked team is only 19-17 this year. It is essentially a coin flip the last 3 seasons. Do not listen to the hype on the internet, folks. It is not an angle that matters. That said, I like Ole Miss here. I think they're kind of backs against the wall in the NCAA tournament discussion. South Carolina's maybe sinking back a little bit towards their level, water finding its level. They were hot to start league play. But now on the road against Chris Beard, I kind of think the Rebs get that one. A couple of Rebel discussions there in a row. Kai, local team here, Loyola Chicago.
Yeah,
they are laying 3.5 at home against George Mason. Ethan W. loves the Ramblers. Do you agree with him?
Boy, I lean towards Mason, to be honest, but I got to stop doubting Drew Valentine, my dude, Drew Valentine, and the Ramblers. By the way, their spreads are kind of all over the place right now. 4.5 some places out there. So if you like one side or the other, obviously go line shopping a bit. We should check out the Circa line on this one. I lean towards George Mason a bit. It's 4 at Circa. Yeah. Again, I've been doubting Loyola a little bit for no reason. They've been very, very good, especially defensively.
Hey, Matthew, to you for UMass laying 5 against the Bonnies. I know Kai likes this game. Do you side with him? And I won't reveal what side Kai's on.
I do like the Bonnies a little bit here. I don't love them. I just like them. I think I've underestimated UMass. They really have been awesome up front with Crossan and Cohen. That's sort of been their new identity, and they're playing decent defense. Again, that's just still a little too volatile of a team to lay points with against a well-coached Mark Schmidt team. Kai, I think you're a Bonnie boy, right?
I'm a Bonnie boy. It's unfortunate how they've been just not that great. Excuse me. They just lost to LaSalle. They have not looked great this season, but I still think this team is really good. I know they have enough talent here. I think Chad Venning's a great matchup for Josh Cohen.
Venning's good.
I think that's very key in this game. So I like the Bonnies here at 5.
Kai, quick to you. Your A-Sun, your favorite conference to bet. Mike Rizzo wonders, Eastern Kentucky, a game away from clinching the league. Also senior day. Also Red Panda in the house.
Wow.
Should be laying 14.5 with the Colonels against Central Arkansas.
Honestly, it feels a little high. Central Arkansas is a pest in this conference. Unpredictable when they'll cover. I would hesitate to lay 14-15 in the A-Sun period. It's just a really topsy-turvy, inconsistent league on the whole.
Who is the Pandas itinerary? That's a great... Great.
I don't know. Yeah,
God,
I
our
don't know. I
chat's the
assume
best.
Eastern
God, our
Kentucky
chat
must have
slaps.
announced that. I don't know. All right, next one, Matthew. Charlotte -2.5 in the AAC. I
Yeah.
believe, if I'm not mistaken, this is against South Florida. No,
Tulsa. No, Eric
Tulsa.
Conklin
Oh yeah,
boys
road.
hosting.
Sorry. Road favorite. Looks like it's 2 across the board now.
Yeah, I actually was looking to bet Tulsa here, but not after Charlotte got shellacked by Memphis. I think that kind of wakes them up and sharpens their focus today. Not a terrible travel going from Memphis to Tulsa either. But I do like this Tulsa team. I think I've been foolishly waiting for a mini surge, but again, this league's really good. So and Charlotte is among the top bellwethers of this conference. In the style too, I think you take Tulsa out of transition, they're a lot tougher. They're a lot less reliable, I guess, offensively in the half court. So yeah, I lean Charlotte here on the spot and the matchup.
All right, we're going 2 more before we go back to the outline. Matt, I'm going right back to you because I have a big one teed up for Kai. Texas A&M at Tennessee for Matthias. The Vols looking for revenge after losing at College Station. Texas A&M has been in a major swoon. 10.5-point spread here for Tennessee. Are you going to lay it at Thompson Bowling Arena?
Definitely not going to lay it. Look to take it, but I'm still burned too badly by A&M recently. This team might just be bad, but if there's a team that will rise to the occasion and make this game an ugly rock fight and just keep grabbing offensive rebounds, winning the possession war, A&M today on the road is probably a pretty good bet, but I didn't take it because I'm tired of losing money on that team.
And Kai, you get the game of the day from here in Chicago, Georgetown, a road favorite at DePaul.
Yeah.
Does DePaul actually get a Big East win here, or does Georgetown roll?
I think Georgetown wins. You can buy tickets for $3, I believe, was the entrance price I was seeing. Good. And you can probably move all the way down to courtside because no one's going to be there today. I lean towards Georgetown. For how bad they are significantly better than DePaul.
Demon takeover in the nation's capital. Look out.
I can't remember who tweeted this. Yeah, I can't remember who tweeted this, so I'm apologizing. But this is the stat of the day on the site here, or on the show. Since Georgetown won 4 straight games to win the Big East tournament in 2021, they have won 3 Big East games since then. Total. They are like 3-51 or something since winning 4 in a row. Yeah, insane. All right, Matthew, I'll kick it back to you. Head back to the outline. I'll continue collecting chat questions like they are Infinity Stones.
Good. Do that while the viewers, watchers, subscribe. If you haven't already, you should have already done that. I've given you 2 opportunities. This is your 3rd and final chance. You also will have one more at the end of the show, but do it now, please. We talk Big 12 hoops, Mr. McKeon. To Fog Allen, we go. Well, the Kansas Jayhawks are hosting Texas. And to your Group Me question earlier this morning, why is Kansas laying 8.5?
It's high.
Market seems to love them. It's high. As I've kind of beat this drum all year, it's not a team that I want to lay big points with, right? Like they've been really good at home as a short favorite or as a dog, I guess, against Houston when they made every shot under the sun. But I mean, I'm no Rodney Terry fan, not a huge Frank Haith fan either. 2 members of that Longhorn staff, but it does feel like they keep this within 8.5. Just my 2 cents.
Yeah, fear the fog ? KU is 13-0 at home, 6-6-1 against the spread. The refs can't always cover for them, fellas. They can win the game. They can't always cover. I love throwing shots at the Jayhawks.
I'm making a ref question or a ref comment lock
every single time. The spread feels high, man. And look at KenPom and Bartorvik too. KenPom's got it 5, Bart's got it 6, 8.5. That's high. Texas needs wins like blood, kind of like Wake, not really, but it's hard to see them getting one outright tonight. They have 0 top 75 KenPom wins in non-conference. All of their Q1 and Q1A wins have come in league play, hosting Baylor at OU, at TCU. I think they can hang, though. DCU is an interesting matchup for Dickinson. Obviously, Shedrick is there, too, to sub out, put in. And Dylan Mitchell seems like a perfect KJ Adams counter piece, and that could go both ways, obviously. But KU, I think, is used to having that Adams matchup advantage. I don't think you get it quite as clearly against Mitchell in Texas. The guard play, in my opinion, isn't wildly different. Advantage Kansas, but Texas is deep. So I lean towards the Horns here at 8.5.
Yeah, this just felt high to me. I was surprised. Yesterday I was going through my contest picks. The early line was 7. It got back down to 6. And I was like, yeah, okay, 6 feels about right to me. And now it's ballooned to 8.5. That was surprising. Kai mentioned KU's home road splits. They have not been good laying 7+ at home. They've been a little bit better recently, but they were not good in non-conference laying margins, and that's what you're kind of asking them to do here. I think Texas is feisty. This is the kind of scenario where I actually do like Rodney Terry, getting his team to play up, motivating his team. I think that makes sense a little bit there. Kansas had a week off. Perhaps that's part of this, and that's a team that really needed to rest. They have no depth. But Texas played on Monday, big Monday. It's not like they have had a quick turnaround from Thursday or something. And they were at home on Monday, so I'm not too worried about the rest advantage here, Matthias. I just lean Texas, man. I think it's too high.
Yeah, agree. Nothing further to add. Let's talk about a game involving a large-ish spread that I did take the bait on the conference road dog, Mr. McKeon. That's UConn coming back home.
Oh, you did take
Nova.
Wow.
I took Nova big, actually. And I'm kind of like, why did I do that?
Hand is in the mousetrap right now.
I know. So UConn got shellacked by Creighton. Although we talked about this, the shot quality score graded as closer to a nail biter. Obviously, Creighton made every shot they took, so it's going to certainly help. But UConn didn't play poorly, right? It wasn't like UConn played bad. They just kind of got a buzzsaw on the road. No shame in that. They come back home. Everything sets up for like a really angry Dan Hurley annihilation. But if there's one team in the Big East that you really can't squash other than maybe Seton Hall, I think Nova's that team. Like, they've quietly been playing better lately. They're going to play low 60s possessions in this game. Eric Dixon is kind of a mismatch issue for UConn. Just the way he's kind of spread out his game, versatilized his game, added versatility to his game. It's not really a word. I just think Nova's a good bet here. I don't know why they're getting 11, 12. It feels like this game's like closer to 7, 8. I don't know. Maybe I'm a sucker, Kai. Tell me why I'm a sucker.
Well, the whole world expects this to be a beatdown, right? Following UConn's loss to Creighton, I'm kind of inclined to agree, I'll be honest. UConn is legit. Very possible this is the best team in the country at their top gear. They could be unbeatable when they're really rolling on all cylinders. Too many weapons, too poised. All 5 starters are a threat. Their defense is good. Villanova, we know the story. They have the talent on paper. They're maybe the second most talented team in the conference on paper, but they don't perform well as a team. It's becoming clear Neptune's not the guy. They settle for outside shots. It's really turned them in kind of a feast or famine offense. There's one guy I trust to shoot on this team. It's Hausen. Dude's a killer. Everyone else has been inconsistent, though. And if they're missing, I think it's a 20-point route. Their defense is held up pretty well, but again, favorable shooting splits we've mentioned with other teams. Villanova definitely falls in that category defensively. They don't have the size to battle Klingon. Dixon's big. He's not long enough, in my opinion. And Klingon, game 1, if you remember, he was still getting back in the swing of things. He came off the bench in that game, was not current form Donovan Klingon. I don't know, Jim. Game 1 was a 1-point game. Maybe Nova can keep it close. I lean more towards UConn getting out and winning by double digits.
Yeah, it feels like UConn and Purdue are in something of a anything you can do, I can do better, which includes losing sometimes. But then Purdue off the loss beat Rutgers by 30, completely destroyed them. And I think a lot of people are like, yeah, it seems like UConn can kind of do the same thing here. The one standout from the first matchup, 59 possessions. I think that's really important. I think Villanova's got to limit this, keep this slowed down in any way that they can. They also limited UConn on the offensive glass in that first meeting. Villanova, very good defensive rebounding team. That has not vanished under Kyle Neptune. I think with the healthier Klingon, I'm not sure they can do that as well. And especially on the road versus at home, I'm worried that UConn just gets after it with the crazy intensity of Dan Hurley and Cam Spencer, the competitiveness that those guys have. I fear a Connecticut blowout as well, Matt. I'm not touching your Wildcats.
All right, that's fine. No, I'm obviously scared of it, but I just think the matchup, especially with the forward and wing spot, sets up pretty well for, again, just kind of a nip and tuck game that if you're back on UConn, you're just pulling your eyes out as to why they can't actually extend the game. But I digress. Let's continue. Rundown. Next up, Illinois hosting Iowa. Some Big Ten action makes the cut today. Kind of a league we've forgotten about, just given how dominant Purdue's been and just sort of the other more marquee matchups in the other leagues, Kai. But the Illini have been quietly awesome, except when they were terrible in the final 2 minutes against Penn State at Alumni Hall, that weird sort of crackerjack gym. Got beat. Coleman Hawkins, not his finest hour. Do he and his Illini bounce back at home against the, trending up Iowa Hawkeyes? Question mark?
Yeah, how does Illinois respond off that collapse against Penn State? They were up 7 with 1 minute left. They had a 99.2% chance of winning per KenPom. We remember the Wisconsin hangover. They had a few games hangover after their collapse. Does Illinois have the same thing? It really messes with your mentals. It's true. And Iowa, you mentioned, Matt, they're not dead for the tournament. Fran might just find a way. Back-to-back Q1 wins. This would be a third Q1 win, a Q1A win as well. I just don't think Iowa has any matchup answers for Shannon. They do have some bigger guards like the Illini, but Domask, Shannon, Rogers, they're what I would call men in comparison to Iowa's Guards, no offense, Tony Perkins, you are a man as well. Cricky and Freeman should hold their own inside for Iowa. Can Hawkins get them in space? That's his matchup advantage clearly against those two. It is a larger spread, Jim. I do lean towards Iowa, and it's mainly because of this Illinois potential hangover.
Yeah, the spread definitely in Iowa, just Iowa from a gut sense. I mean, you'd think Illinois has the versatility to defend Iowa's offense, but they just got torched by Penn State, which is, not a incredible, unstoppable offense, especially with Kanye Clary not there. I like the over here, Matthias. I think both these teams want to run. I was surprised that the total is much lower than where KenPom has it, especially with Illinois coming off a track meet. They have looked like a shootout team for a couple weeks now. I mean, you look at their scores: 87-75, 87-84, 88-80, 97-68, 85-80, 90-89. I'm going to take an over with that team against Iowa. So I like the over quite a bit here.
Yeah, at Big 10 and Big 12 too, you've generally just seen higher totals on KenPom than the market. I think the market's just adjusting to some matchup pace deflation stuff. But I'm with you. I think this one stands out as like neither team can stop the other, even if the pace isn't what you want it to be. I think this is an absolute shootout. I do think Illinois smokes Iowa, though. I kind of feel like this is a kind of talking out both sides of my mouth. I'm going against UConn. Yeah, whatever. I just think it's a runaway, but not a strong take there. Big Ten's weird this season. Gets weird, especially as you get in the dog days of conference play. We conclude on the West Coast, the Big West, to be specific. Shouts to the Tritons of San Diego, Eric Olin and the boys, hosting Irvine, Jim. Battle for tops in that league, which has been quietly really good this season. Top 12, I believe, in KenPom. Hopefully, whoever comes out of that
16th.
16th. It's kind of fallen off a little bit. Okay,
that's still pretty good though. For the Big
Interesting
West.
thing about this one is that UC San Diego does not qualify for the Big Dance. Kind of annoying because it's a fun team to like to see them there. But UC Irvine does slap as they usually do under Russell Turner. Jim, does the depth of the Eaters wear on UC San Diego as it kind of has historically? That's been kind of my matchup with these two teams. Now, this version, UC San Diego, much better, but still, depth is what concerns me.
Yeah, it's sort of what happened in the first meeting at Irvine. Irvine ended up winning by 11. UC San Diego's been just a nuclear missile in league play. Really fun to watch, too. A bunch of D2 transfers comprising like their best players. But yeah, Turner's 4-2 against the spread against Olin. Kai, does that offset the absolute home run Super Bowl effect here of UC San Diego? Like winning the regular season has to be the goal for them, considering no postseason. This game is what it all comes down to. I'm kind of throwing my hands up here. Maybe Matt's right with the depth wearing them down. I just don't want to bet against UC San Diego. They're too good, too much fun.
Yeah, so a win gives them a tie for first. I don't know what the tiebreaker is because Irvine had that first win, but yeah, the main point is they're not eligible for the tournament, which blows. It's a dumb rule. This is their last season in the transition phase, so next year they'll be good. Irvine, second best KenPom season ever, which is incredible considering what they lost last year. I mean, Russell Turner's just done a great job with this program. Their defense
Butler's going to make the tournament because of an Irvine transfer or get close to it, and
it's incredible. Their defense is top 35 in the country. They're 7th in 2-point field goal percentage defense. They guard the pick and roll extremely well. That is UC San Diego's bread and butter. They rely on it among the most in the country, the pick and roll ball screen action. Game 1, Irvine, the shooting splits favored them, but they also moved the ball without problems. 19 assists to 7 turnovers. Pretty impressive by Irvine. I think they can do it again. Obviously, UC San Diego has the talent to hang with pretty much anybody. Pope's legit, McGee's legit, etc. But the home factor here, Matt, as we know, not big in Big West. UC San Diego, in fact, 349th in home court advantage per KenPom. I like Irvine here.
I agree. I'm a little frustrated. I had UC Santa Barbara. The game was on 5 on Thursday, and Irvine ended up covering by 1.5 those Rats. But yeah, they're awesome. I think the secret sauce to Irvine, and Turner's mentioned this multiple times throughout the year, it's like we have so many good passers. Like it's not just one guy who dishes the rock. I know Crockwell is up to he's top 5, I think, in assists or something, number 2 in assist rate per KenPom, but like they have multiple dudes who can pass the ball. Their bigs can pass. They always get good shots. They can play well in transition, which is sort of a change for Turner. You kind of think of him as like an old school throwback guy, but they can get out and run. Just a team with very few weaknesses. And that's kind of why they've been awesome all year, start to finish. And they played 10 games this summer in that, the US to China Olympic type of thing. So it's like a team that's as cohesive, as connected as cohesion any group you'll find in the country. Again, don't fade this team. That's my lesson as I learned the hard way on Thursday. Nothing farther, though, with the on the number, I guess I should say there. All right, chat mob round 2. It's time. Some comments about the like to viewer ratio. Don't like seeing that. I thought I made it pretty clear what the marching orders were for the watchers. So we should be hitting that like button and subscribe button if you are watching. You have one last chance right now. But Jim, part 2, go.
Hit it. Hit that thumbs up button. It's easy. Why not do it? All right. Yeah, we have a lot of questions. We can go semi-rapid fire here. Kai, actually, I'm going to steal the mic on the first one. Bedlam, Oklahoma State. I took the under in the circuit contest here. I think this is kind of a war. First one was also a war. Oklahoma State coming off that road win, and they just beat BYU. You could make a very good case that this is buy low Oklahoma off a couple losses, sell high Oklahoma State off a couple of wins. I do lean Boomer Sooner here. I think they got the coaching edge with Porter Moser, but I also think under is a rather strong play. All right, Matthias, to you. Wofford and Furman. Couple people asking about this game in the SoCon. Furman blew a 5-point lead in the final minute at Samford. It was an insane ending here. Are you buying it here with Furman at home against Wofford laying 8?
Gut tells me laying 8 with Furman's not a great idea. I'm not a big Wofford guy, though, in general. I know they've had some good efforts. Their offense is tough to prepare for, very complex and intricate, but Richie knows it. He's not going to be caught off guard by it. That said, I just don't like laying 8 with Furman. I just don't think they're deep enough right now to really beat teams by margin, especially in a low possession game.
Kai, to you, Florida and Vanderbilt. A question was about the over here. It has been bet down to 115.5, but I will allow you to answer RE side as well. So you tell me.
Yeah, I don't have a huge opinion on the total. Spread's obviously big. That's to be expected. I kind of lean towards the team that has quote unquote something to play for right now instead of a team that might lose their coach in the offseason because they've been so poor. So slightly into Florida, big number, not a huge opinion on the side or total, excuse me.
Yeah, I think spot's kind of tough for Florida. They played like a gauntlet, and even like their non-hard games, technically, like LSU was a war, at Georgia was a war. Add in the Auburn and Alabama, I might be kind of tough for them to cover. We'll see. Matt, big one in the Coastal. A lot of questions about Towson as a 2-point home dog against Charleston. Kind of a tug of war in the chat. I think some people like both sides of this game. You tell me.
I lean Charleston, looked at it closer, looked at the first matchup. Towson is just so good on the glass, it's impossible to blow them out. Now, you could argue the fact that they won in Charleston makes this sort of a good spot for Charleston. It is Towson's senior night. I think they're doing some big homage to autism or something like that. So it's supposed to be a really big, great home crowd for Towson tonight. That aside, I still lean Charleston. Did not play it because I think I have Towson underrated in my general.
I took Charleston
ratings. Did you?
Good.
Okay. Yep.
I got Charleston to win the Coastal, so big one for me. Go Cougars. All right, Kai. Washington State is stunningly atop the Pac-12 right now. They're a -190 favorite, depending on which book you look at, to retain that championship and win the regular season.
I hate that.
But they've got to figure out the hangover here on the road at Arizona State, headed to Tempe after a giant win. Of course, Arizona State erased a 25-point lead and lost in overtime, so they might have a hangover of their own. What are your thoughts on this game?
I kind of lean towards Arizona State. I kind of lean towards the letdown here for Washington State. Arizona State can definitely win this game. They've proven they can beat teams out of nowhere, especially with the curtain of distraction. I lean towards ASU here.
I do too. I hate it, but I do too.
Yeah. I'm cheering very hard for the Sun Devils. I want Arizona to win that league badly. I also like the under. I think there's ASU struggles to score. Wazoo's maybe a little sleepy.
There's no way Wazoo didn't celebrate emphatically, right? Like
their assistant coach proposed on the court after the game. Do you see that?
They're not logged in for this game. Huh. There's no way you're getting an A+ effort from Washington State today. No way. Now Arizona State, what do you get with them?
Did she say yes?
I don't know.
She did say yes. She did. Say
she
yes.
said no. She said no. It's a bounce back. She said yes.
shambles.
So hangover spot. That's the
bounce back from getting turned down. At the,
We're playing this for our buddy who got
that guy
denied.
some Manscaped ASAP.
Yep.
That's why.
All right. Also, a lot of questions about this one, Kai. I'm going to go right back to you. Yale -7.5 at Columbia. Do the free throw brickers, the criminals yesterday, Yale, how dare they? Do they bounce back at Columbia?
I think Columbia's kind of sneaky okay. I actually kind of lean towards their way at 7.5. I think Yale will win. I hope Yale will win, but it's a lot of points. I kind of respect Columbia this season, so I lean towards the Lions.
Hard agree.
Yeah, also hard agree. And the double roadie Friday, Saturday is just tough in that conference.
Yeah, the Cornell to exactly. That's a tough trip.
All right, Matt, in the Sun Belt, Appalachian State and Marshall. Appalachian State sitting atop the league. They're laying 6 on the road in West Virginia. What are your thoughts here?
Dan D'Antoni got me fired up with his midweek presser. He's like, you watch, this group will battle their tails off this weekend in these 2 massive games. Now they got smoked last game by Jim Fantasy. But this one today, is nationally televised on the weekend off that terrible effort. I think you get a sneaky good Marshall effort. I did take the points with the Thundering Herd. Famous last words.
All right, Kai. The SLU Billikens have kind of been circling the drain, but you know who else has? George Washington. Coop asking about this kind of dregs of the A10 question here. SLU laying 5 points right now. Are you going to lay points with these Bills?
Nope. Took George Washington plus 5.5 is what I got. I would take 5 as well. Yep. G-Dub. Too many points for SLU to lay. I think G-Dub can cover.
How about the over there? Like, which team plays less defense?
High spread, high total. Yeah,
163.
Sure.
It does feel high, but I don't know. SLU doesn't play any defense right now. They score.
Neither does G-Dub. Yeah.
Yep. I also, if you're into props, I've been discussing this with Kai Defo, our good buddy SLU fan. Sincere Parker has scored like 100 points in 3 games, and then he had 4 last game. I think he bounces back, and you can see.
Do they offer Sincere Parker props? That'd be, man. Where's that market?
He betted against Duquesne. My guy bet the over, and he had 4 points.
Man.
It's the next frontier for us.
Call you out, Defo, but yeah. All right, Matthew, in the Big 12, Texas Tech going on the road to UCF. This game is basically a pick'em. Sounds like Warren Washington likely still out. That spooked me off taking Texas Tech.
Yeah, I think UCF is not a buy low, but they also got healthy, I think, at the right time. You've seen some recent evidence that they're just probably better than they're appraised in the market. I kind of like UCF coupled with that Washington wrinkle too. Down to pick. So yeah, you kind of missed that value, but yeah, I still win UCF.
Yep. Kai, similar spot with BYU heading on the road to Kansas State. BYU off that big Baylor W. They narrowly beat K-State at home in the first meeting. K-State kind of got back in that game late. Again, fairly close to a pick, and BYU laying 1. What do you think?
K-State, Octagon of Doom. Welcome, BYU. Welcome. You will be uncomfortable here. K-State.
All right, Matthew, for you, you get your Tarleton boys, a team you absolutely love. They potentially have some hangover after beating Grand Canyon. They're laying 6 at home against Cal Baptist, who still has not gotten Dominique Daniels back.
Yeah, they've been bad without him, but CBU is a really good dog. So I didn't lay it because the spot is obviously terrifying, but you can certainly argue that just fading CBU without Dom Daniels, why is there no intel on what his situation is? Can we get some reporting out there in CBU WACland? Somebody step up. Like, we need some info here. Let's go.
Yeah, he is vital. I can't take them. If he's out, I can't take Tarleton in that spot. So stay away from me. Kai, in the Pac-12 from Eric, Oregon laying 1.5 at Cal. Cal definitely showing signs of life now. We thought this Oregon team might go on a surge when they got healthy. They have not done so. Any thoughts on this game?
I took the under in this game. Not a whole lot of explanations there. Just like the number compared to what I'm seeing in my own little spreadsheet. I lean towards Oregon as well. Nothing strong on this side.
Okay. Matthew, staying in that conference, Scott H. loves USC +5 against UCLA in the battle of La La Land. UCLA has been playing very well lately. Will Sebastian Mack stay on the court? Will he throw elbows? Will the Bruins cover? You tell me.
I think USC is the right bet. I'm just still a bit scarred from my biggest bet being USC last weekend, and they blew a 16-point lead and lost in double overtime by 4. So don't trust Andy Enfield, as I should have known from the prior 7 years of that program and his coaching prowess. But I think that's the right bet. So I hope those of you that bet that way.
All right, Kai, to you, for a team we saw live, Drizzy Drake -2 at Northern Iowa. Big old in-state rivalry here.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Oh, man, Drake's a lot better. Love Northern Iowa, have all year. Well, kind of not love them after losing like 6 bets on them to start the season. I lean towards Drake, man. This team is really good. That Indiana State game, Jim, Indiana State, we saw them win. Drake was incredibly impressive, especially with DeVries playing on one leg, scoring like 30 points. I lean towards Drake here. Should be a great environment. I assume the UNI, what's their place called? Doesn't matter. We'll be rocking today.
Purple Panthers.
The Cloud Center?
McLeod Center?
McLeod Center. I think so.
Yeah,
Right. Great home court. I agree.
Man, Matt, if you do have a take on Sacred Heart at Central Connecticut State, because I certainly don't. I know Alan Jean Rose missed last game for CCSU, and he's vital. So maybe keep an eye on that. If he's out, I would lean Sacred Heart and lean over. He's a great defender.
Yeah, after Wagner burned our future hopes to the clouds, I stopped following that conference. So
Yeah. God damn NEC. All right. Matthew, sticking with you here, McNeese State. They are minus 21.5 against Incarnate Word, who has multiple suspensions in the lineup after the brawl with Texas A&M Commerce. Do the Cowboys, Will Wade's Cowboys, just continue to dominate that league?
Yeah, I was sort of thought I was onto something with my fade McNeese in the Southland angle, and look at the last few. They won by 27 against Nichols. They beat Houston Christian by 50, and then they won by 28 against Commerce before the Corpus Christi close back and forth game. Yeah, it's probably a runaway here. What's the spread? 25?
It's like 21.
What is it?
21.5.
21? Yeah, I kind of lean toward McNeese, shockingly.
Oh, no, 25 now. Wow,
It is 25. Yeah, I got bet up. I think,
hammered up.
People hit it.
Yep. Kai, LMU at Pacific. Oof, man, hard to figure out bottom of the WCC here. LMU has a lot of injuries. Pacific getting 8.5 points at home, but they've been a horrible ATS team. ETSU is coming, by the way. There's just a lot of questions. So your thoughts on LMU at Pacific?
I got nothing, man. I got nothing. I have no idea. Lean fade Pacific almost every single time, but with LMU's injuries, I don't trust that either.
Okay, well, Kai, then you get to answer this one too.
Thank you.
The battle of, I think it's I-74.
74.
Job Gunderson mentioned it. Yeah. Illinois State headed to Bradley. This one feels a little high for a big rivalry to me. I'm seeing 13.
Yep.
That's okay.
Towards the Redbirds. Matt, there you go.
I thought it was a little high.
Did take it.
Yep, agreed.
Did take it. Bradley's not been as good the last few weeks. A couple of blowouts in there, but like they're not as invincible as I thought they were, even with Hickman back. I'm not
I talked them up to my buddy who has the MVC in his Calcutta league. I was like, watch out for Bradley, and then they like crap the bed for 2 weeks. So, whoops. All right. Kai, East Tennessee State plus 11.5 against Samford, who is potentially sleepy after that huge win. Achor got hurt in that game. I kind of think ETSU is a good bet here as well.
I don't like fading Samford. No thanks. You can't tempt me, devil. No thank you. Samford
Even with no Achor?
Samford plays too fast, man. I don't think that anybody matters in their lineup.
Was it McCray? I agree. Kai has the right point there. But McCray was out last game too. Best bet.
I mean, Jermaine Marshall was out for most of the year, and they still won every game.
They still didn't matter.
So
I know.
I
think they're leveling off. That's my hot take here. I think they're leveling off a little bit. I think East Tennessee State's the best bet for me. I think Savage has the boys playing like a Steve Forbes throwback team, kind of gritty, slow, disgusting, a tough team to really extend against. I think that'll travel well there down to Alabama.
And apologies, I think I did miss multiple people asking this game earlier, but it is in 7 minutes. Matthew, Indiana, your Hoosiers headed to Penn State, who blasted them at Assembly Hall the first meeting. Does Penn State get them again here?
I think so. I think the better bet's the over. People are betting the under. It's down to 151. It's a big number, but I think both teams, Indiana is still looking to play a little faster when they can, and Penn State's certainly a good over dance partner with the way they score and the way they choose to ignore defense.
IU sucks.
Yeah. I agree.
I agree.
Poverty program.
Mike Woodson every time in the post game is like, if we're gonna get a run going, we got to start soon. It's like, yeah, you do, bud. It's about time.
It's sharp.
Legstro mentioned Miami minus 8.5 against Georgia Tech, feeling high. I would agree, especially if Pack and Cleveland are both still out. I mean, Duke just absolutely whomped them without those two guys. They have 5 good players and 3 of them were out. So, excuse me, 2 of them were out. So I would lean
played well
Tech
against
there.
good teams in that league. Even Stoudemire's like, we played our best against the best teams in this league, and they got killed last game. But before that, they had been playing up to the good teams in that conference.
Yeah, he had a wait till I get my guys in here. It's like, wow. So do you hate your current players?
Don't say that in your one.
Think about how these things are framed. Kai at the horn from Nash 2, BC, NC State. I don't know what the spread is. 5.5 right now at NC State. Any thoughts on that game?
Over for me in that game. I like the over. Yeah.
Okay.
I took it. 148.5 was what I took. I'd still take 149 if it's out there.
Oh, buzzer beater from Scott H. Yes, I think +7 is too much for Utah at Colorado, despite the home road splits between those two. Colorado better at home. Utah also better at home. I think 7's a little too high.
Disagree.
So I lean towards the Utes. Okay, fair enough. All right, that is it. Best bets. Matthew, you already just gave one. I'm going to go to you to give more.
Yes. ETSU, East Tennessee State plus 11.5. I would like 12, but I don't think it's out there. And then South Alabama plus 8.5. Richie Riley is my boy. Kind of a quick turnaround revenge game against Arkansas State. The Sun Belt scheduling is really weird, by the way. But they just played 2 games ago. I think they're going to be a really tough out here on the road. Richie Riley as a dog has been a really good bet historically. I think this team profiles as a good dog today. Arkansas State's dangerous, but I don't know if I trust them to cover margin. So I like my Jaguars. USA.
They pissed off Southern Miss last game. Like,
yeah,
Curbelo got ejected, I think.
Yep.
Crowley got a tee himself. So yeah, they can be infuriating. Kai, any best bets for you? I'm circling 2 here.
I'm going Weber State -2.5 at Idaho State. I know the Bengals have been better lately. This spread's way too low. I would have made this spread probably closer to 10 in the preseason, or maybe even like early season. So I like Weber there. Lean towards Ewash if you want to get more leans in the Big Sky. Lean their way against Northern Colorado, and then a couple bets that I've said today that I do like. Not best bets, but I do think the Bonnies and G-Dub will cover in the A10. But the best bet, Jim, will be Weber State -2.5.
My 2 best bets are totals that are in the Circa contest. So apologies if you've already seen those, but I'm going with Houston Baylor under 135. Langston Love being out just further helps this. Again, I think Baylor plays a little slower in league play. They've done it 2 straight years. Houston's defense is ridiculous. Concerned about a free throw contest for Baylor. That would be bad news, but I think under 135 there is solid. And the pace over and efficiency over of Alabama, Kentucky, 175.5 available out there. I know Right Cell is out, but I still think this game is going to have close to 80 possessions. I don't trust either defense, so I will ride with that over 175.5. That's it, Matthias. I believe that is it.
When's our next show?
That's
boys?
all we have. Next
show is Tuesday at 9 a.m. Central.
Okay. Sounds good to me.
So come back, and we're not going to let you in though if you haven't liked and subscribed to this show. So we will.
Yeah, bring receipts.
Again, we can't actually do that, but so empty threats galore on this program. But please do like and subscribe before you head out if you haven't already. Thank you for stopping by, regardless, and come back Tuesday. We will continue this Circa partnership, and thank you, Manscaped, for joining the team. Support the sponsors, and good luck to your bets today. As always, may the 3